इस मैजिकल ऑफर को जाने ना दें। अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
Enjoy unlimited free deliveries and order on and on and on with Panda Pro.
Panda.
जैज़ के पास हर नीड का हल है। बस *699# मिलाओ और अपने लिए खास बनाए हुए पैकेज को अपनी सुपर पावर बनाओ।
हमदर्द जुशांदा का 1 पैकेट बॉईल करें, दिन में 2 बार पिएं और खांसी और नेज़ी कंजेशन को जड़ से खत्म करें। नो केमिकल्स, नो साइड इफेक्ट्स। आप भी अपनी सेहत को नेचुरली ठीक रखें विद हमदर्द जुशांदा।
अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
बैंक अल्फा की न्यू अल्फा ऐप से कहीं से भी बैंकिंग करें, क्योंकि बैंकिंग कहीं जाने का नहीं, अल्फा करने का नाम है। डाउनलोड द न्यू अल्फा ऐप।
एक्सीएल का निशाना, पैदावार के साथ इनामात का खजाना। जीते बेशुमार इनामात और उम्रा टिकट के बम्पर प्राइजेस। बोतल पर दिए गए QR कोड स्कैन करें और कुरानदाजी में शामिल हो जाएं।
इस मैजिकल ऑफर को जाने ना दें। अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
Enjoy unlimited free deliveries and order on and on and on with Panda Pro.
Panda.
जैज़ के पास हर नीड का हल है। बस *699# मिलाओ और अपने लिए खास बनाए हुए पैकेज को अपनी सुपर पावर बनाओ।
हमदर्द जुशांदा का 1 पैकेट बॉईल करें, दिन में 2 बार पिएं और खांसी और नेज़ी कंजेशन को जड़ से खत्म करें। नो केमिकल्स, नो साइड इफेक्ट्स। आप भी अपनी सेहत को नेचुरली ठीक रखें विद हमदर्द जुशांदा।
अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
बैंक अल्फा की न्यू अल्फा ऐप से कहीं से भी बैंकिंग करें, क्योंकि बैंकिंग कहीं जाने का नहीं, अल्फा करने का नाम है। डाउनलोड द न्यू अल्फा ऐप।
एक्सीएल का निशाना, पैदावार के साथ इनामात का खजाना। जीते बेशुमार इनामात और उम्रा टिकट के बम्पर प्राइजेस। बोतल पर दिए गए QR कोड स्कैन करें और कुरानदाजी में शामिल हो जाएं।
Score runs in Test cricket in South Africa. Batters have scored runs on this type of wickets, so it is possible. It's not like you have to change too much, but certain batters maybe should play like that, and certain should just have a normal approach for them to be successful.
Ramiz, the shift. So we look at that first hour, and let's call it what we would expect as the traditional approach, where batters look to leave and give that time to the bowler. It's a new ball, and then look at what happened in the second hour. It just looks like a complete shift, and an ill-advised one, because it's still kind of the first session of the Test match.
Yeah, I think what happened in that opening burst from the 2 openers is that they had plan A, which worked perfectly, which was avoiding that off-stump line and making sure that you fall back on good, tight defense. But what next then? How to get runs? So that became a bit of a query for the Pakistani camp, because as we feel that some of the players may not have that kind of defense, and it was just helter-skelter. I think it was programmed kind of a batting from Pakistan, and in Test cricket on a surface like this, I mean, you can only survive for that much of overs or that part of the phase of the innings, and then you falter. And so, yeah, I understand that there's a name written on it, on the ball for you, and that you cannot survive all the time by playing defensive type cricket. But then it had to be better option than that.
Talk to us, Hashim, on how, as a South African batter, you had to play. So generally South Africa bat first here at Supersport Park. Generally it would be them, and when they win the toss, that's what they would normally do. And they would have to face that sort of thing with the ball going past the bat. And I don't think I can remember a time when, certainly not you, not too many, have turned up and played shots that way.
Yeah, I think it's the perception of what a green wicket is. As a South African team, we've played on green wickets that were nipping all over the place, every ball. And then when you come onto a surface like this, where it's not nipping that much, there's a bit of bounce. So then our perception is that we don't need to change a lot. And the pressure on difficult surfaces is more on the bowler than the batsman. That's how I used to feel. So who's the pressure on a difficult wicket? It's going to be the bowler. He needs to land it in the right area. And if he's not, I know as captain, you're thinking, come on, bowler, get it right. Come on, guys, hit the area. All you need to do is land it. And that's the pressure the bowler feels. So and with that pressure, the bowler is going to make mistakes. So yes, I mean, when we played on wickets like this, we never felt that we needed to play anything outside the usual test cricket of hitting your cuts, flicks off the legs, punch down the ground. These type of shots that bowlers do bowl, no matter how good you are going to be bowling that. And when somebody like KG, who is a world-class bowler, even Paterson as well, who's been bowling really well, if they go through a few overs of not getting you out, they're only human. They're going to be searching for, and we saw KG bowl a few more full balls that he got driven through the covers by Saim, Ayub and Shan Masood. So you're testing the patience of the bowler. And that's how I feel batting on these surfaces. That's how you can be successful.
You see, Hashim had a great balance also. So I remember him just taking that little step forward, and then his wrist used to come into play. So, I would want to avoid the wristy work here, but you on the other hand, on tough surfaces would do that. So, I mean, balance in batting is so key here, isn't it?
It's about knowing the surface you're playing in, and giving yourself time to get in and to dominate a bowling attack. Yes, we all are for dominating a bowling attack, but there is times and places to do it. And the first 15 overs, like this Pakistani opening batsman showed, they were circumspect. They hit whatever bad deliveries came to them. Just post that 15 overs, we saw a lot more shots of decent deliveries. And I think out of the 4 wickets that they lost, 3 of them were basically gifts to the South African team.
Rambo?
Yep.
How to play next innings? Was that a snippet into how they'll keep going, you think?
I think Rizwan likes to get on with it. And Kamran, Ghulam, I mean, his sample size is just too small for me to predict whether he's going to continue like this or whether he'll now stop a little bit. And I think that's the other thing that needs to be sort of grinded in the batsman, that look, you're off to a good start, you've kind of dominated for the next half an hour. What you need to do is to now just pause a little bit. Make sure that you don't lose a wicket now. So it's about partnership. It's about, once again, that grinding job that you need to do.
Okay, well, thank you to the batters. We'll see what the batters out there look to do in terms of their plans. First session, really good, exciting. Let's see what comes up in the second.
Welcome back. We're about to get the second session underway on day one. And the first session was quite an interesting one. The first hour, Pakistan didn't lose any wickets at all. We then lost 4 wickets for just 20 runs in just 26 deliveries. So that was something that really put them on the back foot. So that was far from ideal from Pakistan's point of view. We've got a nice crowd in as well. And here come the batsmen for Pakistan. A couple of guys who need to continue after the break. There were 1 or 2 moments which were a bit hairy for them. Here's a look at the wickets that went down. This was Corbin Bosch, his very first delivery. Shan Masood will be disappointed. Ayub got a good delivery from Paterson. Is the only one that wasn't a soft dismissal. That was Babar Azam. Well caught. Second slip by Aiden, Markram. Paterson again. And Corbin Bosch got one down the leg side. That was such a kill with just a little bit of assistance off that glove. So 3 soft dismissals, 1 genuine dismissal, and that's the guy who batted so well so far on this tour. And that'll be disappointing for Pakistan that he's gone. But now it's the skipper of the white ball game who's on 10 not outs and the partnership 32. Sean Pollack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, as we see, KG Rabada has been reintroduced for South Africa, and you just get the feeling that there's no way that he can go another spell and not pick up a wicket the way he bowled in those initial 7 overs this morning. He was on point with regards to length. He beat the outside edge on countless occasions. And I think Pakistan will have their work cut out for them here after the lunch break. They came out and played positively this partnership, 32 of 33, so it'll be interesting to see the approach after the lunch.
Rabada again. Allows that one to go through. I guess that's going to be the name of the game initially from these guys at the top, just to make sure that they can get into this second session.
Will it? I don't know. I'm not so sure, Hazy. The way they played before the lunch break, they might look to carve it away.
I think they'll have had a bit of a regroup and think, no, we're going to go back to the initial plan.
Okay, so they're being controlled in the dressing room.
Yeah. Four slips, pretty much, with Jansen the wider of and the taller of the slips cordon.
How were you after lunch, Polly, when you had to come out and bowl? I know we've had this conversation before. You didn't really like to eat, but the meals that we've had at Supersport Park on day one already, rather tasty.
Extra bounce, wrap on that finger. Keepers always have issues with fingers. Help his cause at all, I'm sure.
Now that one stood up steeply, for sure. I do wonder if there's going to be any little marks that are being created. That one hits properly on the glove, and it's the release of the bat just to try and stem the flow of pain that goes up through the body.
I can just hear him actually through the stump microphone at the moment. He's groaning a bit out there, so he's not particularly happy about this one. Just a couple of noises from him, letting us know that it's not a comfortable feeling.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on the Pakistan physio, Cliffy Deacon. He's one of the harder men's in cricket, old school. He just stood up ever so quietly and just watched. I'm sure Rizwan would call him if he was in a bit of strife, but yeah, that's a beauty. Those are the ones that always hurt. Squeezes down on the bat handle. Those are never fun.
little inside neck on that occasion. You'll find that wicketkeepers go into games these days, particularly test matches, they've always got damaged fingers. So when they're out there batting, they do happen to get one also. It just gives them a smack on that, on the flesh, and livens something up in that finger that they've been looking after for the last week. It's far from ideal for them. Healthy Nick. Drifting it a little bit that time, but a nice controlled drive this time by Rizwan. Good solid stuff after the break with that shot. Tag team work. 3 the result.
Yeah, that was a nasty punch, just slightly over pitched, but not full enough to allow a full flow of the bat. Just had to kind of wait for it to get to him. Just held it, or maybe he couldn't squeeze that bottom hand as hard as he'd want to after the contact with 2 balls before. Yeah, Hazy, with wicketkeepers, if you ever shake their hands at the back end of their career or 2 or 10 years after they've retired, you get a good feeling for what they go through.
Oh, that's a beauty. That's gone away from a fairly full length as well. End of the first over after the break, 91 for 4.
तहसील का निशाना, पैदावार के साथ इनामात का खजाना, जीते बेशुमार इनामात और उम्रा टिकट के बम्पर प्राइजेस। बोतल पर दिए गए QR कोड स्कैन करें और कुरानदाजी में शामिल हो जाएं।
इस मैजिकल ऑफर को जाने ना दें। अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
Enjoy unlimited free deliveries and order on and on and on with Panda Pro.
Food Panda.
Jansen. He'll be hoping on Jansen that his radar is going to be when he was all over the show. Came back just for the one before the interval. Started with a couple down the leg side and then seemed to be on track a little bit, so you'll want to start well and start building from that.
Yeah, and he felt with Marco Jansen was a little bit 2 lengths from him. The other bowlers have settled in quite nicely on the top of the stump's length. He's just been a little bit inconsistent in terms of those lengths. So he's one of those bowlers, if he can find the right length, with it getting it to stand up with his height, it became an absolute handful. So this will be an important spell for him after lunch now.
Because of the carry you can get, that slip cordon's quite deep. He's not bowling with any great pace at the moment. He'll ease into that a little bit. He'll build from a base.
The Sean Pollock theory, maybe the grab was so good here. It's taking a little bit of time to get going, get the diesel engine working. It's a long way down to get all that food processed.
The crowd is building up even more after lunch. First day, the forecast is good for the day from a rain point of view. Oh, that's a beauty. Big shout from Verreynne, which is probably not going to surprise many people that he's up and shouting.
Yeah, cuts him in half, Rizwan. This is the danger of Marco Jansen. It can seem like he's been a bit docile or not really hitting the deck, but with that bounce and ability just to get the odd one to stand up and climb, he can cause troubles for anyone on any surface around the world. That one nips back sharply. I think it's bat making contact with the pad that maybe makes the noise as it goes past.
And that one held his line. Top stuff this from Marco Jansen.
Yeah, much better for Marco Jansen. Getting the ball to talk. Lines have been consistent. The lengths have been even better. As you mentioned, he can get one to rise off a length. That one just squatting ever so slightly going across Rizwan, but when you have got a bowler that can get the ball to stand up like this, it's so difficult to get settled and find a rhythm as a batter. Asking the right questions is Marco Jansen.
Releases from well over 2 meters as well. And that's bang on target. So that's a very well constructed over for Marco Jansen. 91 for 4.
कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
हमदर्द जुशांदा का 1 पैकेट बॉईल करें, दिन में 2 बार पिएं और खांसी और नेज़ी कंजेशन को जड़ से ख़त्म करें। नो केमिकल्स, नो साइड इफ़ेक्ट्स। आप भी अपनी सेहत को नेचुरली ठीक रखें विद हमदर्द जुशांदा।
जैज के पास हर नीड का हल है, बस *699# मिलाओ और अपने लिए खास बनाए हुए पैकेज को अपनी सुपर पावर बनाओ।
The choice.
Oh, that's not that far away from that off stump, as Rabada has realised.
Yeah, this is disconcerting. You don't really want to be seeing this on day one of the test match. You've seen a couple of deliveries bounce steeply and really cause a lot of problems, even in the last over, wrapping the gloves. And then that's a similar length. It's left because they're judging it on the deliveries from the last over, and that one stays down.
Slightly overpitched.
Yeah, Ghulam's missed out on that one. That is one that he could have put away. There hasn't been many overpitched and been freebies. Smile on his face. Maybe that's the comments that he's passing down to his captain to say, well, sorry, should I say his one-day international captain, to say, well, I've missed out on that one.
Oh, that's a nice punch. That's nicely controlled. Went in front of square. It's a satisfying shot. Really good work, that one.
Yeah, it's a shot that you have to play well up in the high fault. And he'll get opportunities with the extra bounce, but he's ridden it well. And rocking back beautifully with a high elbow and just punching it through that offside for a boundary.
What's also so good about this one is, if you just think of the last 5 or 6 deliveries that have been received from that end, one stood steeply, one stayed low. So just to trust the bounce and be able to hit it at the top of it is exceptional.
Now that one has gone sideways some distance. That has seemed a lot. They're going to have just a little bit of a discussion about that. I wonder if there's an indentation that has just hit. The track was not particularly hard this morning. There's bound to be a couple of indentations out there already, I would imagine. I think we've seen evidence of that with one ball that stood up a little bit earlier. That one has gone quite a distance sideways. Looking for the big drive, not there.
Yeah, definitely not there. I was just about to say that. It's not the kind of shot you want to be playing on this pitch. You've got to be patient enough. You can look to be positive 100%, but you've got to be patient enough to know which ones you can go after. That one was also moved prodigiously.
Oh, that's going a lot. Tried to pull out of that one in the last minute. 95 for 4.
बैंक अल्फला की न्यू एल्फ ऐप से कहीं से भी बैंकिंग करें, क्योंकि बैंकिंग कहीं जाने का नहीं, अल्फा करने का नाम है। डाउनलोड द न्यू अल्फा ऐप।
Hasn't got that right out of the middle, but Bavuma's got a hand on that to save what would have been a boundary, I presume.
What was that, Hazy, that Temba just did there?
A ball of a kissy.
I knew you couldn't resist. He's actually done well, because Rizwan, as he made contact, he thought that was going to go away, and this outfield's quick enough to have taken it to the fence, so it's a good little parry. We can see another example how the ball is not coming out of Marco Jansen's hand in the fashion that he would have liked to. Don't know if he got a warning for running down the wicket, or might have been a few comments with Marco Jansen. He's never short of wanting to get involved in a bit of a verbal contact, old Rizwan.
Yeah, he and Heinrich Klaassen had a few words in the one-day game in Paarl.
That one actually came out of his hand okay compared to some of the others we've seen from Mark Jansen. And it's funny, it's just something that happens in a bowler's career, is you have odd games where the rhythm just doesn't feel right and the release doesn't feel like you want it.
Around the wicket now, short. He likes playing that shot. Rizwan, there are two men back, but he gently controls it.
Yeah, don't mind this ploy around the wicket from Mark Jansen. Just changing the angle. If you can get that wrist right that you talk about, he can get the ball to straighten from around the wicket. Awkward angle when it comes into you from that height. You saw well Rabada did coming around the wicket to the left-handers.
Yeah, I don't mind it for a bit, but I think the over he bowled previously, the previous over, was such a good one from over that I thought he found his straps there. That's clubbed. That's a really good solid shot from Ghulam.
Straight away Jansen turns around and looks back at the crease, and as he walks back he gives it a kick, but this is just a bit of a freebie. It's banged in, there's nothing really behind it. It's just short, it's just wide, and it's just asking to be put away. And come on, Ghulam is looking for anything he can latch onto. He's got 31 or 30 deliveries, so he's looking to be positive, and this is the case. Brings up the 100 as well for Pakistan.
Well, that was a bit of an exaggeration from Ghulam, that loud call and the point to his partner.
Yeah, he looks like quite a character. Come on, Ghulam. Besides I'm not too sure how we describe that. It's almost like a fencer trying to shoot his, I don't know, what do you call the fencing sword?
Oh, he's played that nicely too. Another very good shot. Second fine drive off the back foot in the over. 100.
एक्सियल का निशाना, पैदावार के साथ इनामात का खजाना, जीते बेशुमार इनामात और उम्रा टिकट के बम्पर प्राइजेस। बोतल पर दिए गए QR कोड स्कैन करें और कुरानदाजी में शामिल हो जाएं।
इस मैजिकल ऑफर को जाने ना दें। अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
Enjoy unlimited free deliveries and order on and on and on with Panda Pro.
Surface. They would have liked the ground staff, so you may see a bit more movement as the game goes on continuously. So it could be a bit of a difficult one for the batters.
Yeah, for those that missed it earlier, 9 days of preparation, and the tent was used for about 60% of that time as it rained. Flaps are up on the side when it wasn't raining, so there could be a bit of a breeze coming through. They were always worried with the overcast conditions and the rain around the place that was never far away. So yeah, a bit of moisture in it, that's why there's a bit of greenery. That crust, which is no more than about an inch, that's all it is, just over an inch. The crust of the top upper layer of the pitch is fairly hard, but there will be some burn marks. That's what I'm expecting, because it's such a good carpet of grass with the new ball. We've just been hitting that surface and just burning through that top bit of grass and providing some indentations, rather than perhaps going into the actual clay itself. It seemed to be reasonably hard, although it's always a little bit on the softer side here at Super Sport Park on day one.
what we would have noticed with this wicket and the batter so far, they've given themselves a chance to get in and play good cricket shots. There's opportunity to score, but probably you'll agree with me, those wickets that you don't always feel in. You'll be feeling good, you'll be moving good, leaving the ball well, playing a few shots, getting a few boundaries, but you always think there's a ball with your name on it. It's one of those types of wickets you feel.
Yeah, when Murray says you feel like you're never in, it's like you could get one that could just knock you over. That's nicely caressed through the covers as well. A little bit of shape, so Rabada wouldn't have been unhappy at the shot being produced. He'd been thinking slip cordon if it just moves a little bit more, but Rizwan moved his wrists and almost adjusted the bat angle to the shape of the delivery.
And that's what I mean. Slips were applauding KG Rabada after the shot got played because there's a risk involved with the slips waiting to take the catch. But again, if you get 5 more deliveries like that, there's always the potential of nicking one from the nature of this pitch.
I'm a bit surprised now. One shot through the covers and they've now put protection back. The point has now been put onto the fence. And I don't think I'd mind them pushing hard at deliveries when we've seen some of the trampoline bounce so far. 110 for 4.
कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बॉटल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
हमदर्द जुशांदा का 1 पैकेट बॉईल करें, दिन में 2 बार पिएं और खांसी और नेज़ी कंजेशन को जड़ से खत्म करें। नो केमिकल्स, नो साइड इफेक्ट्स। आप भी अपनी सेहत को नेचुरली ठीक रखें विद हमदर्द जुशांदा।
जैज़ के पास हर नीड का हल है, बस *699# मिलाओ और अपने लिए खास बनाए हुए पैकेज को अपनी सुपर पावर बनाओ।
Fans will be hoping I'm proved wrong, but for me, what I would have done here is I would have taken Jansen out of the attack and gone back to Dane Paterson, and I would have kept Jansen to change ends because he just hasn't found his rhythm today. So the South African fans, as I say, will be hoping that he still picks up a wicket this over, but for me, he hasn't looked comfortable, hasn't hit his straps as well as he could, and maybe just a change of end will do the trick for him.
And now there's a man on the fence on the offside. Just want to have a look at what happens in the test matches here over the last couple of years. This is the story of this pitch. First of all, we're going to look at Rabada, his release heights. The South African bowlers are tall and they're quick. Rabada, the last 2 tests, Supersport Park, 2.1 metre release height, and bowls at a good length and the variable bounce. This is on fact from Hawkeye, the variable bounce he's had in the last 2 test matches. So that's Rabada. We'll come back and have a look at Jansen after this as well. Just coming back a fraction that time. So there's Rabada. So that's because of the indentations in the pitch and the variable bounce. So there's Rabada. What about Jansen? Surprisingly, he's only a little bit taller than Rabada because he's got that collapsed front knee, but it's still a very good high release point. And this is the variable bounce that he's had over the last couple of tests at Supersport Park. So he gets variable bounce as well. This is days 3 and day 4 and 5 it goes that far. Happened in day 3 actually against India. Day 4 it was against the West Indies in 2024. Cries of catch it, and it's going to scoot away for a boundary. Man on the offside fence couldn't get close.
Yeah, if only it was Corbin Bosch, he actually headed off in the opposite direction. It's sometimes a difficult ground to pick up. You think about the bank and all the people sitting on the bank, but it's width, it's a scrambled seam, and Kamran Ghulam deciding to go hard after it. You can see Bosch is heading in the opposite direction and has to turn around. He wouldn't have got to it.
3 men on the fence. There's 2 men back on the hook, and there's a man on the fence on the offside. Not sure about these field placings. There's extra bounce. So we've looked at Rabada, we've looked at Jansen. Rabada's about 6'4", Jansen's about 6'8", 6'9", and Naseem Shah's 5'10". He only releases at 1.9. So this is the variable. This is taken from the one day at the Wanderers. So this is fact again from him at the Wanderers. And we're going to see if he gets any variable bounce. It's consistent with the Wanderers because there weren't the indentations. So will he be able to get some variable bounce at this surface? He is by far the most senior and the best bowler in their lineup. But the other blokes are tall and quick, and they do hit that deck hard, and they change their length to a hard length and get that variable bounce, and then Also, something that was spotted by Hashim Amla at the pitch report today. He just saw a little bit of a crack that was just outside the line of off-stump bowling for Henot's River End, which might come into play if there's not too much wet weather around the place. But here's a class act, and will he get the verbal bounce? I presume he will, but the other guys will be presumably more effective because of their height. Leading edge that time. 115 for 4.
न्यू अल्फा ऐप से कहीं से भी बैंकिंग करें क्योंकि बैंकिंग कहीं जाने का नहीं अल्फा करने का नाम है डाउनलोड द न्यू अल्फा ऐप
59 now this partnership. It's been good from Ghulam and also Rizwan. 4 wickets going down in 26 balls in the last hour of session number 1. Rabada again. Again that's gone nicely. And some distance, hence the smile on Ghulam's face.
Yeah, and you have to feel for KG Rabada. He's been absolutely superb this morning. He's beaten the bat a number of times, and look at that movement right off the wicket. So used to seeing KG swing the ball away, but when the ball's nipping like this, it's almost impossible for a batter. And you have to feel that luck has to change at some stage for Rabada.
Just a little bit of movement next to the side screen that Kamran Ghulam didn't appreciate. And those are the people walking up. It's a massive side screen, so it's obviously a nice side screen to have, but the people walking up can just be the movement that kind of puts you off a little bit. So ideally people need to stand still while the delivery's underway.
Now that's a shot you won't find in the MCC coaching manual.
Well, there's definitely a word said by KG Rabada after the batter pulled out with people at the side screen. And I don't know what makes me think that he was expecting the short one.
Yeah, he was in position early, and then it's like, I'm not going to play at it, and I'm just going to leave my bat there. Kamran Ghulam may be saying, you see how talented I am? Even when I'm not trying to hit the ball, I can hit the ball. KG probably saying, what was that? They do look like a batting partnership that has a lot of fun out there. I think there's similar personalities, and they almost commentate a little bit with each other and give feedback. Oh, I think they're losing the plot out there. I think Verreynne kind of went up to say there's someone about 5 rows up on top of the grandstand who's moving. You sure you don't want him to stop as well? And Kamran Ghulam didn't see the funny side to it. And there's a bit of verbals.
KG, stay in his mind, yeah? Living rent-free in this mind.
Yeah, Markram just mentioning that South Africans are living rent-free in his mind at the moment. It looks like he is the type of character to get involved and doesn't back down from a challenge, which you love from a test cricketer.
Depends what personality you are. If there's a bit of chitter-chatter from behind the stumps and you get involved, it can kind of throw you a little bit from a concentration perspective. But he does seem like a guy who doesn't mind a bit of a challenge, and it will continue to be focused even though there's a bit of verbals on the go.
Soft hands, a little bit of extra bounce.
Yeah, he looks like one of those nuggety players that would definitely get under the skin. of most bowlers. I'll tell you what, I'm sitting up in the commentary box here and I'm starting to get a little bit fidgety. It's one of those batters that you feel like you can get him out at any time, but he's just sticking out. If you had many of those in your life, Polly, I suppose every batter was a...
He's definitely drawn them into verbals. He's drawn them into a different mindset, and they clearly are getting a little bit frustrated. And there's another reason to be frustrated. A great away swinger from Rabada, played and missed 118 for 4.
तहसील का निशाना, पैदावार के साथ इनामात का खजाना, जीते बेशुमार इनामात और उम्रा टिकट के बम्पर प्राइजेस। बोतल पर दिए गए QR कोड स्कैन करें और कुरानदाजी में शामिल हो जाएं।
इस मैजिकल ऑफर को जाने ना दें। अब कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
Food Panda.
Enjoy unlimited free deliveries and order on and on and on with Panda Pro.
It was Javed Miandad. Back in his day, he was someone that used to try and get a scrap going. Javed, nicely fielded by Bavuma. And it was a known fact that you didn't want to speak to him too much because he'd feed off your aggression and play better. And a few of those around the place in years gone by.
Yeah, I think that recently a guy like Faf du Plessis was someone that you didn't really want to engage because he would absolutely thrive in the battle. And Faf was one of those guys who would, specifically against a team like Australia, he would love to get under their skin. Aussies are renowned for when you block the ball and you drop it down, they would tell you don't touch the ball, leave the ball alone, and Faf would pick it up and throw it straight back to the bowler. I can't remember who the bowler was, but hit him straight in the chest, and Faf invited that. He loved it, and there's a reason why he was captain. He led the way in the battle. So you get those guys that you just want to back down from and just do your job.
Nice controlled punch from Rizwan. It's just really good work from these two.
Yeah, and the rotation of the strike, keeping the singles going, 64 of 78 deliveries, and in Test cricket terms, that's pretty quick. There's also certain individuals who you like batting with, and I get the feeling that these two thoroughly enjoy each other's company in the middle.
Invited him, he thought about it.
And a partnership like this would start to worry South Africans, because it's one thing if a lot of verbals and you think you're on top of someone and they're not getting away from you with their run rate, but they are scoring freely at the moment, these two, so they're in a battle now.
Pakistan. Yes, Sam.
This is the fourth over after the break from Michael Jansen. 4 in his opening spell. Rabada had an extended spell early on, hoping to pick up an early wicket, and kept him on for a while, South Africa. Solid shot off that back foot. Sweeper into play. Into the over 3 from it. 121 for 4.
कोका कोला की 2 लीटर बोतल सिर्फ 220 रुपए में। खाना बनाए मैजिकल कोका कोला के साथ।
हमदर्द जुशानदा का 1 पैकेट बॉईल करें, दिन में 2 बार पिएं और खांसी और नेज़ल कंजेशन को जड़ से खत्म करें। नो केमिकल्स, नो साइड इफेक्ट्स। आप भी अपनी सेहत को नेचुरली ठीक रखें विद हमदर्द जुशानदा।
जैज़ के पास हर नीड का हल है, बस *699# मिलाओ और अपने लिए खास बनाए हुए पैकेज को अपनी सुपर पावर बनाओ।
To launch on 88 for 4. Ghulam and Rizwan, a partnership of 65. They've played freely after lunch and will have gone to the break thinking perhaps We gave away one too many wickets before the break. They've come out, played with good responsibility. Still very overcast conditions here in Centurion. Ghulam, he's on 44 from 46, 7 fours and 1 6. Here's Rabada. Squeezed away. And 4 more. The boundaries have been flowing.
That love.
And the score's moved up to 125 for 4.
Yeah, it's one of those wobble seams again. The ball just nipping back, getting the inside edge. It's been a productive start for Pakistan after post the lunch. The runs have flowed. Something behind the bowler's arm. Ghulam's had a few issues with somebody walking across, or maybe some disturbance behind the bowler's arm. It's never easy as a batsman. Everyone can complain, or what are you complaining about? Oh, here we go. Verreynne is either upset with the batsman or with somebody who's behind the bowler's arm. Oh, here we go.
Lazy stroll back after lunch.